everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Christine. I'm here to do my weekly wrap up. It's going to be a short one because I finished one book and that was just a few minutes ago. I thought I was reading tons and I thought I had finished another one, but all I've been doing is making progress on all the books. So I am allowed to read at work when it's dead. So Saturday there was a rush in the morning, a lull, a little bit of a rush, and then it was quiet for 3 or 4 hours. So my boss is great. She lets me, I can only arrange the shelves so much and then I have nothing else to do. So in case I never said it, I work in a fabric store now. It's not like a chain or anything. It's just a very small local place that I shopped at, and it had been sold. So the new girl hired me on. So I work 3 days a week. So this week I work tomorrow, Wednesday, and Saturday. So I got one book finished. And then what I've also been doing, side note, I revamped my Goodreads because I was getting overwhelmed with the amount of books that I wanted to read. Because when I first started on Goodreads, it was my habit to put one book in the series and then I would add the rest of the books in all the series. So it was like 13,000 some books. So I spent, I think, the last 2 weeks revamping it. And what I did was I put, where it's like want to read, read, and currently reading, I put in categories. So romance TBR, horror TBR, and some of them can fit in both categories. And when I go to read them, I'll put them down below in the other categories. But if they were mainly romance, I would put them in romance. If they were mainly suspense, I would put them in suspense rather than romantic suspense. Like, you could only put them in one spot. And then like cozy mysteries and thrillers, I separated them because to me a cozy mystery is very different than a psychological thriller. So I did that and it pared it down quite a bit. So I was also getting frustrated when I would make my TBRs that I wanted some of them to be my Harlequin books to, get rid of some of these books there. And they weren't coming up. And I'm like, trying to search through 13,000 books was like very frustrating. So I would just pick something that matched the category instead of trying to go through these books. Then as I was going through them, I found that whenever I would put a book on my owned TBR shelf, it would automatically mark it as read. And that is one of the irksome things about Goodreads is if you put it under owned, it automatically thinks it's read. And sometimes I would catch it. A lot of times it would do it in the background after I've already done that. Like another couple of books. So that's all nice and cleared out now. So now going forward, I can just, if I want to, like if a category comes up that I want just a random book from the next in series, I can go to the next in series. If I want to read a Harlequin, I can search the Harlequin shelf. So it's a little bit easier for me to deal with. So I also took off a lot of the books from the series and I just kept in either if it was a first in the series or next in the series. And that was it. I might have missed some, whatever. So that's what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. So the one book I did finish was The Wedding by Julie Garwood. It is book 2 in the Laird's Brides series. It's only like a duology. This one is, the prologue is when Brenna is a little girl and she asks Connor to marry her, and he thinks it's cute. And then she sends letters to him and asks him. 2 out of the 3 letters he wrote back saying, "No, I will not." The 3rd, he never answered her. So fast forward, she's on her way because her father was supposed to have given her sister to this laird and chose her instead because the king wished Rachel to be given to somebody else. So, yeah, given. So she's on her way to the laird. And Connor has a vendetta against this laird because he knows he's the one who killed his father. He can't prove it. And his brother wants him to prove it before he does anything about it. So he decides to piss off the laird and marry Brenna. So the marriage happens, and then they go to his keep. There's a lot of banter back and forth. She's very complacent when it comes to being his wife. She has her quirks that she wants, but he keeps refusing her. It gets better. The only qualm I have is this much of the book is the 2 days travel from when he picks her up to his keep. This much. And all the good stuff is this much. It was really good stuff, but it was really long drawn out travels when they first meet, get married in 2 days, and then a flurry of activity for the last month, like a month in like this amount of spot. So I gave it a 4. I like the banter. She's this little, English woman. He's this big burly Scottish Highlander. And you kind of see where some of the plot goes with his stepmother and his stepbrother. But yeah, I won't say any more about it, but a 4. So I have made progress on all the other books, sort of. The one I mainly made progress in was City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. I'm almost done. I decided to put it down to finish up the wedding. So I have, I think it's like 105, little over 100 pages left. And, it's book 5 in the Mortal Achievements. I'm not going to go over that again. The other book, well, I'm reading 5 books. 4 now. Rita May Brown and Sneaky Pie Brown, Tailgate. Still can't see why the Revolutionary War is in here. Yes, I mixed up the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. I realized that after I finished recording last week. But it's starting to get a little preachy again. Like, it was nice to have a reprieve of Harry not spouting politics and stuff. So, there's this one. And it's Mrs. Murphy, Pewter, and T. Tucker, the corgi dog, that solve mysteries. And this one, it's about a football player. No. Is he a former football player who turned professor? Or is he just a professor as a writer? But there's something with the football as well in here. Still, like I said, I don't know why the Revolutionary War is in there. Unless it has to do with the professor because he's a writer of stuff in the Revolutionary War. But this is the first book that she's actually, it's dual timeline. It's the Revolutionary War and the present. I started it, I read one story a day, and it's Full Throttle by Joe Hill. I'm kind of listening to this at the same time as reading it because it's a full cast that, like, each celebrity reads each story. And I know Willem Dafoe, Zachary Quinto, I forget who the other ones are. But just a bunch of different little short stories from Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. And the other book is Robin Cook's Chromosome 6. It's book 3 in the Laurie Montgomery and Jack, what is his last name? Stapleton, I think, series. And they are forensic, not pathologists. They work in the morgue. They do autopsies and stuff like that, but they also they get into a lot of trouble. And this one is about I think it's about cloning. I'm not too far into it, but Equatorial Guinea is where part of it takes place, and New York is the other place. And Right now it's just setting up that it's this big lab. He gets everything he wants. He's having issues because a mob, somebody in the mob has just been murdered, and his body goes missing from the morgue when Laurie goes to do the autopsy on him. So that's about as far as I've gotten. But from what I can understand, it's about cloning. So I'm wondering if the mob guy was a clone. So the other 5 books that I was wanting to read, I have to go back to the library tomorrow. And since I work tomorrow, I'm going to try and just run them in and renew them. Like, again, because you can only get 3 renewals. And if not, then I'll just get them later. They weren't anything that were for challenges or anything. So it was Laura Adrian's Kiss of Crimson, and that is, let's see, book 2. I can't remember the series name. But it's a vampire. Then there's Mary Ballow's Someone to Hold, and it's Westcott. I think it's book 2. Secrets of a Runaway Bride by Valerie Bowman. And Meet Your Baker, I think this is the first in the series, by Ellie Alexander. So, cozy mystery, 2 historical romances, and a contemporary vampire book. So I'm going to try and see if I can get them renewed. If not, I'll just get them again later. And then the last 4 books that I plan on maybe working on once I'm finished. Those are Nora Roberts' Sweet Revenge. In the stratosphere of A-list celebrities, Adrian was an A-plus beautiful, wealthy, elegant. She lived the kind of glamorous life that most could only envy, since they didn't know the private tragedy and the dangerous truth, for her pampered rich girl pose was just as carefully orchestrated facade that she was ready to drop when the moment came to right the wrongs of the past. And with the sun and the moon, a fabled necklace that is within her reach, the moment has come. It almost sounds like a little bit magical realism, but I love Nora Roberts. And then the other 3, well, 2 of them, are Joanna Lindsay. One is The Heir, and one is Captive Bride. I think this is a standalone. I think this is book 1 of a series. Can't remember offhand. These will go by really quick because her writing is fairly big. Some of them. But The Heir is, has anyone in London ever taken part in the coming out season with less enthusiasm than Sabrina? Luckily, the most sought-after lady in the city has agreed to usher this young, lovely country girl through the perils and pitfalls of her all-important first season. Like, I'm not going to read... And there's the step back. I'm not going to read everything on the backs. But I can't remember if this is the start of the Mallory series. No, it's a Highlander series. Duncan McTavish. No, he's an English Marquess. I always pronounced it Marquee. That's the French in me. So, or Marquee. Yeah. And then Captive Bride is Christina Wakefield's wild, daring spirit cannot resist the call of the Arabian desert. But once there, destiny makes her the prisoner of Sheikh Abu, the arrogant, enigmatic, almost demonically handsome adventurer whom she had known in England as Philip Caxton. I don't think I've ever read this one. Maybe I have. It's 1977 was the first publishing date. I thought I did. I don't remember it. And I would have read it when I was in high school, which was early 90s. So that's when I found her. The last book I'm going to try and read is The Greek Billionaire's Love Child by Sarah Morgan. It's a medical romance. I'm not getting rid of this one because it's Sarah Morgan. Mistress to the Billionaire Doctor. 6 months of bliss with gorgeous high-flying pediatric surgeon Nikos Mariakos leaves children's nurse Ella head over heels in love until Nikos unexpectedly ends the relationship. Later that same day, Ella's pregnancy test turns positive, and it is only then that Ella discovers from a celebrity magazine that the father of her baby is a billionaire. So, yeah, and it is from May 2009, and it's book 395. So, Second Chance. I think this was a series, but I can't remember if it was or not. I know I should look into it, but I know it's Billionaire Doctors, but yeah. So that is it for my weekly wrap up. I only finished one book, but that's okay. I'm having fun working. It does take away from my time, but when I've got my first sale last night in 2 weeks, so that should tell you how scarce things are getting. So I need the income. And I know I get my nails done, but that was a birthday gift, and my daughter paid for every other one. So yeah, that is one of the, and my husband says, I can keep getting them. He'll pay for them. So it's one of those little things. I don't buy books right now. I don't buy fabric. I don't buy anything. We are just surviving. So I know I shouldn't. It's just, you need something to make yourself happy sometimes. So anyways, that is my weekly wrap up. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.